I'm all done wiring my solar panels, so now I'm ready to mount them and run the cabling and get them where they're gonna finally lay. This has been extremely time consuming. I'm glad we did it, but I'm so ready for it to be over because there are other projects I need to be working on now. Each panel comes with one of these, and this has 5 sticky zip tie mounts, which is cool. That'll help me run my cables and keep them in a straight line. Now from AM Solar, these come with some black plastic thumb screws that you can kind of screw them on like giant wing nuts. I decided to go get some stainless steel bolts instead. I've always got my impact driver with me, and I thought it'd help me secure them a little better. I don't know if that was a good decision or not, but I don't regret it yet. But it might look a little bit different than other AM Solar kits you've seen, and that's why. All right, so under here, we've got all this tied up. I need to find some tape and just tape those down just so they're not blowing in the wind and moving. I got some aluminum back tape. This is what I'm gonna use to tape down these wires so they don't flap. It's an aluminum trailer. Why not go with some shiny tape? I also like that I can kind of mold this into place like aluminum foil, and it kind of gives it a little shape. This is not something AM Solar recommends. This is just me thinking I can do things better, which I usually can't. That's just one more thing to keep stuff from flapping around. Probably not an issue, like I said, but it's an experiment I'm gonna try. Cool. Please go in. Yes. That's my biggest fears. Now that these are kind of cemented in, that they don't line up, but they're lining up well. These all have split washers on them, lock washers, so they don't back themselves out over bumpy roads. But I'm still gonna check them the first month. Watch this. This will rock the trailer. These mounts are not going anywhere. So it's not rocket science where you run your cables. I could run it right down the middle. I could pull it up to the side and run it there. I think I want it on this side of that heat shield. Okay, it only needs to come over a little. I think the junction box will be right about here. Ideally, you would put your junction box underneath one of the panels, then it would be protected from wind, rain, snow, weather. But I don't have any panels that can come over here because of all this stuff. It made more sense to just put the junction box right here, then I can snake it right down through that, down into the house. Looks good. These probably aren't meant to do this, but I'm running 2 through one of these sticky things. That just gives me even more places to secure my wires. It uses that VHB tape, which I'm totally sold on. That's not going anywhere. Make sure there's enough clearance. Oh, plenty of clearance. Barely fit my fingers under the middle. I could always raise it another level if I wanted, but I want these low for now. They're bolted to the aluminum well, but the aluminum flexes. The back doesn't, just the front. I don't know what else I could do other than try and put these directly on studs, but I think we'll be okay. Not like there's forces pulling up, more like forces pushing down, so we should be good. So I'm totally biased because AM Solar is our sponsor, but I want to point this out. Every single panel comes with its own separate bag that says roof wire harness accessories. Has all the parts just for that panel in one bag. Now what they could have done is saved a little bit of money and not used a separate bag and just had a whole bag full of miscellaneous parts. But that would have been overwhelming to me, and I really like having 6 separate bags so I know when I've run out for that bags, for that panel's zip ties and stuff. Super, super helpful. The labeling is super clear. The instructions are super clear. As a do-it-yourselfer, I'm really, really appreciating this. this is going to be interesting. All the wires are going to pass along here. The real reason I'm putting solar panels on is to reduce the hail damage if it ever hails. I wonder how solar panels hold up in the hail. Oh, this might fit after all. And maybe this panel can follow this in there. Oh, that's looking great. Now, I don't want to do these other two until I've finished this. So I need to cut out the butyl tape, silicone that all up with Dicor. Then I'll be ready to mount that panel. Then I can mount this panel. There's just not a lot of room to walk up here after you have solar panels up here, which is actually something I didn't anticipate before doing this. So I've given this a few days to dry. I'm going to cut away all the excess and seal this up with a ton of Dicor sealant. And I'm sure I'm going to make a mess. I always do with this stuff. There we go. Now it's coming up. Still not amazing at applying this stuff. I'm almost out of it. I've been caking it on. That's one tube down. Here's tube number 2. You can see it's already starting to level itself out. Now I'm going to make it even worse by trying to use my finger to smooth it out. What a goopy mess. It's a mess, but it's sealed. I love how easily this comes off with a little rubbing alcohol. Now my goal is to not touch that and don't get any of it on me for the next hour as I mount the last few panels. That's gonna be tricky. Oh, that's awfully close to the goop I just poured. Perfect. Exciting moment, last panel. Gotta move some junk, run a couple wires, and we're good to go. Yay. These are so hard to tighten after they're underneath a panel. Woo! Do not want to fall off this roof, especially backwards. Oh, look at that. Remember how my number one goal was to stay out of that mess I made? Well, I just put my shoe in it. I was worried about falling off the back over there, which is a legitimate concern this late at night with cables everywhere. And I put my foot in it. Dang. Oh well, of all the things to go wrong, that's probably the best. I'll touch that up another day. Yeah. Just need to tighten these up and clean up here. Worst part about working up here is being near the toilet vent. Get a whiff of your black tank every now and then. Now, any money you save doing this yourself, you can now go spend on a chiropractor to fix your back. Got a little more cable management to do, but all my panels are mounted. I'm really proud of that. Look at that. Super clean. They all come together right here. The combiner box there. Super clean there. We got room for another panel there, one here, and one here. Another 300 watts if we want. Apart from the computers, we're really not drawing a whole ton of power, but we wanted to build this to be robust enough that we wouldn't have to worry about, oh no, are the batteries going to be dead or not. And having lithium batteries is going to be nice because we're going to get a lot more usable amp hours. I think the batteries arrive tomorrow, and I think, yeah, the charge controller is going to come tomorrow too. So, huge shout out to AM Solar for great product, for hooking us up, for sponsoring us, for believing in us, for sending such great instructions, such well-labeled bags, and using such high-quality products. We highly, highly recommend AM Solar. Yes, we're biased. They're our sponsor. But you need to know something about our sponsors and the way we select our sponsors. We only pick companies that we would spend money buying it from anyway, and AM Solar is one of those. If AM Solar and a couple other companies had said, no, we're not going to sponsor you, we still would have bought all of these from AM Solar. So that's where we're at. You're just going to have to take my word for it. But you know I do a lot of research, and I only pick the best stuff. And AM Solar is fantastic to work with. They've answered all my questions. Like I said, quality is second to none. Shipping was fast. Communication was great. Can't recommend them enough. I'm pretty happy with this. It's too early to know if there's any other lessons learned. I'm glad I screwed the little mounts in. It takes more time than you would think to lay it all out properly, but it's not rocket science. I mean, it's gluing stuff down, screwing it down, sealing it up. Anyone can do that. The hard part is wiring it, designing your system to handle the loads that you need it to, and that's where a professional solar installer can really help you there. But I think it's going to be fun to... I'm proud of the fact that I was able to install all of this myself up to this point. We're going to stick them in the combiner box and drop them in the interior, and then that's when I'm going to need help. Although it's pretty dang easy. Your solar charge controller has 2 inputs, a positive and negative, and 2 outputs, a positive and negative. So it's not rocket science. Here's the flow. Solar panels have those 2 wires coming out. Positive and negative, they go to the combiner box. All of them meet in the combiner box. Then they go to a thicker cable down into the inside to your charge controller. Your charge controller, if you remember from our How Solar Works series, it is controlling how much voltage goes to your batteries. It's monitoring your batteries. It's finding out how much they need, how much they don't. When they're full, it's diverting the power elsewhere so you're not overcharging your batteries. There's a lot going on in the brain of that charge controller. But all it's really doing is making sure your batteries get charged the way they need to. That's the simple fact. And once your batteries are charged, you use your inverter to pull all that 12-volt power into your 110 volt to invert it into 110, where you can, plug it in, all your AC stuff, your hair dryer, your blender, everything like that. And that's the nuts and bolts of a solar system. That's how it works. It's been a fun install. I'm cold, I'm tired, I'm ready to move to Arizona where it's going to be warm for the winter. Glad this is on schedule and going so well.